Clearly, we were assessing three different paths forward for the company. There was the largely internal option, taking advantage of MeeGo and Symbian, and the need to build a third ecosystem somewhat on our own, but with the help of others. And as we've already talked about, there were issues in that area that caused us to continue to look at our second and third options. The second option, clearly, was to make a decision to pursue Android and to place a significant bet on the Android ecosystem. The third choice we had was to enter into a partnership with Microsoft to build jointly an ecosystem around Windows Phone. I wanted to sort of set your minds into the frame that we were dealing with at the time. If you think about the decision or the results of the decision to go Android, what would that mean to the whole mobile industry? If you combine the current market share of Android with the market share that Nokia could deliver to Android over the next couple of years, it's a very large number, a very large number. One could believe that the mobile industry thereafter would be some form of duopoly, Apple and Android and some smaller players, with Nokia contributing substantially to the Android ecosystem. That's what the selection of Android could have meant in the context of our decision making. Now clearly, to Google, that has value. A decision to swing in the direction of Android, to play the role of the swing factor over to Android, and delivering some substantial market share to the Android ecosystem, would essentially have tilted the mobile ecosystem in that direction. And that has value that Google recognized. Now, think about the other aspect of this strategic consideration. And that is, a decision to go Windows Phone creates a very different dynamic. By moving in the direction of Windows Phone and partnering with Microsoft, we create an environment where now Windows Phone is a challenger, where we have created, as we've said repeatedly, a three-horse race. For Microsoft, the consideration at Nokia of going in that direction had value, significant value. So think about that. What was really going on over the last several weeks, months, is not only were we considering the internal options, but we were also considering what was the right decision for Nokia as a company being suited by two of the world's largest technology companies who both recognize the critical importance of having a strong role in the mobile ecosystem. We went through that process and indeed were suited by both parties. Now, we obviously made the decision to go Windows Phone. We made the decision for a whole variety of reasons, but I think to truly understand it, you need to understand a bit more about how Microsoft viewed this opportunity to ensure that there were three ecosystems and not only two, excluding them. So let me give you a sense of that. Many of you have already written and observed that when you enter into a relationship like this between two parties, in this case between Nokia and Microsoft, that the beginning of the framework of the deal is something called an OEM deal. And there's a general balance in the construct of an OEM deal. Essentially, we pay Microsoft royalties for the use of their software and for the fact that they are developing that software and fulfilling obligations to us and to others to deliver a great product with us. So we pay the money for that. And of course, the balance to that transaction is that we are able to reduce our operating expenses. We're paying them, but we are not internally also developing a software platform ourselves. So you see the balance in that part of the transaction. Royalty flow to Microsoft, OpEx reduction to Microsoft, or to Nokia. Now it has been questioned by some of the analysts, does Nokia understand the significant OpEx reductions that ought to go along with that, with this transaction? And the short answer to that question is absolutely we do. And in the weeks and months ahead, that will become more apparent. But that's the beginning of the OEM transaction. But I think the sense is that that's the totality of the relationship. In fact, the Nokia and Microsoft partnership around Windows Phone goes far deeper than that in many different ways. And I want to share with you a bit more of how this construct works. So you have to think about it in terms of what Nokia, in addition to the royalties, what is Nokia contributing to this partnership? Well, we're contributing a number of things. For example, we are contributing a variety of services, of capabilities that will be used by Windows Phone manufacturers, including Nokia. So we're contributing things like the capabilities around OV Maps, around the OV Store, around new advertising opportunities related to local services. We are contributing that to this partnership. So that's one example. We are also contributing to this partnership the specific technical and hardware and differentiating capabilities that will ensure that Nokia Windows Phone products are great products. So services, great technology, but there's also something else we're contributing, and it's what I mentioned at the beginning. We are contributing the swing factor. We are contributing the fact that we have created a challenger in Windows Phone, a significant contribution to the ecosystem. We're bringing substantial market share in that direction the world over. And of course, the question, therefore, is what is the contribution from Microsoft in the other direction? Well, clearly they too are contributing services. Things like Bing for search in certain countries, things like advertising capabilities, Xbox, and so forth. So they're contributing those types of things. They also, this is a very important thing to recognize in the balance of the transaction, they are contributing a dependency. We are clearly dependent on Windows Phone as we go forward, but now they become they're placing a very significant bet on Nokia for the delivery of the location-based services. So that's a critical element. But there's another element that comes out of this. We're contributing these services, and in exchange, we are also receiving a new source of revenue, a new and additional way for Nokia to make money, and that is related to advertising. We have not had an advertising source of revenue, yet clearly in the world, the business models are evolving such that advertising has become very important. And so that's part of the contribution back. But there's one more that's worth noting. For all of the unique elements that Nokia is contributing, including the swing factor, including the decision to make Windows Phone a challenger, Microsoft is contributing to Nokia substantial monetary value towards Nokia because we are contributing all of these unique things. During our investor briefing, there was a slide where we had a single line with a little green check mark saying marketing and other investments or something like that from Microsoft to Nokia. I think some people interpreted that as something that would be measured in the millions or tens of millions or something, as most marketing transfers of value are. In fact, when you look at all of the value that we're contributing, the unique nature of what we bring to the table as part of this transaction, in fact, the value transfer to Nokia is measured in the B's, not the M's. Overall, royalties, OpEx reductions, significant unique contribution from Microsoft, or from Nokia, from Microsoft, new sources of revenue, and a huge monetary transfer to recognize our unique value. And this is something I don't think was completely explained or picked up or what have you, but it structures the overall framework of the deal. The thing to recognize here, overall, is indeed Nokia has placed an important, very important strategic bet on Microsoft, and Microsoft has placed a very important strategic bet on Nokia. And that is one of the critical reasons why we will both succeed together.